Today, we will demonstrate the connectors from our DT series, including how I choose them perfectly, crimp them, and unlock them.
We will also show you the right tools like the pliers and unlocking tool.
What options do I have to order DT connectors? More info is coming up. Why do I need this connector? Once I have IP68, and with the protective cover, it even reaches IP69K. This means these ratings are just these two numbers. The 6 is for solids, and the second number is for liquids. An 8 means long-term immersion protection, and 9K means the highest protection class, also suitable for high-pressure steam cleaners.
So it immediately becomes clear what I need these plugs for and where they are known from. For example, these are agricultural machines, construction machinery, meaning places where there is a lot of dirt and water, or for instance, in the motorcycle sector, which means for vehicles that are open. These must be plugs that are resistant.
They are designed for high standards.
They can be adapted for various applications, or for example, reconfigured.
We have both the male and female plug.
This is used for steam cleaners or high-pressure washing, especially in food areas where trucks are cleaned every day.
The DT connectors are also installed in some of our work lights.
Now I want to show you how quickly and easily you can find DT connectors. You have the option to buy 3 assortments. For example, there's the DTHD series, which is heavy duty for the larger connectors. Then we have the classic DT series and the DTM, which is the mini series. The connectors are simply a bit smaller. However, there is also the option to simply buy a connector housing set. This means everything you need for processing is included: contacts, housing, and the secondary locking mechanism. Alternatively, you can install multiple connectors from the 2 poles. Or you have the option to buy a bag full of housings or just contacts. Everything you need to know can be found in our installation catalog. This means the connector housing sets, the loose items, and the assortments. Or of course, you can enter DT in the online catalog under Universal Parts Search and find the matching connectors.
Here's a practical tip. The crimping tool and release tools are always linked to the contact. Only for the secondary locking, an additional safety feature, we need to go through the housing.
Now you're probably wondering how to get the tools. Where can I find what goes with it? For instance, I've opened our page with the connector housings, and it directly states below which crimping tools I would need. For example, in this case, the crimping tool with the corresponding head on top. And of course, which release tools I need. There are various release tools available, as we also have different secondary locking mechanisms for both male and female housings. And over here, which we always do very nicely, we also have an application example for the DT connectors included directly in the catalog. That means you can either watch our video, which we are currently doing, or you can also look in the installation catalog and see the application example there.
You can find it also in the online catalog and in the tool catalog.
So now I'd like to show you how to handle the DT contacts and install them perfectly into the housing. For instance, we've taken the 2-pole ones here, but this procedure, especially crimping, is the same for everyone. And the locking, which means we insert them, and the secondary locks are all very, very similar. So what do we need for this? We have our stripping pliers, our crimping tool, the loose crimp contacts, then we have the housing here, and of course we need a bit of cable. So we'll cut this again and strip it. Next, we select the right connector and ensure that it fits here. We have our tool, and we place the contact at 0.5. The areas are indicated on the pliers. Click, and it's secured. Now we'll insert the cable. After that, here we have the finished cable. Now we have our housing here. Here we simply have our individual wire seal. We can go straight through, it's no problem. See, it clicks into place. For the second cable I've prepared, we will also add it in. Done. Now we'll use the secondary lock to secure it. And voila, our Dodge Stecker is complete. So now we see how we have processed this. The one over there would be exactly the same. That means we just have the male housing here, but with the female contact. And then it's just reversed in the housing. Here, the secondary lock is the green one. This means there are now 3 different release tools. Why do we say 3? That's quite clear. This is for the male housing. This means I can go here and pull out my secondary lock. You need the release tool for this secondary lock. I insert it here, place it at the top, and then I can pull it out. This release tool works for both contacts. This means we simply go in from the bottom. There's a small lever we need to release, then we can easily pull out the contact out. Done. The Ella comes out too, but that's okay. Now let's pull out the second one. Voila, it's simply released. Now we can take off the single conductor seal again, and everything is taken apart. And all these tools you've seen here, as we mentioned in the video, are always suitable for the housings or these crimp connectors.
Now you've seen how easy it is to locate DT connectors to find, to crimp and unlock.
For everything else you need to know, you can find it in our installation catalog, online catalog, tool catalog, or description text.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to not miss any more videos.